Good morning everyone. Today we will study about the nanoparticles. This is a table of contents. We will study about the introduction, then advantages, disadvantages, and polymer used to prepare the nanoparticles, then methods of preparation, characterization. Now what are nanoparticles? These are solid colloidal particles ranging in size from 10 to 1000 nanometer. Nano derives from the Greek word nanos, which means dwarf or extremely small. It can be used as a prefix for any unit to mean a billionth of that unit. Drug may be dissolved and trapped, encapsulated or attached to a nanoparticle matrix. Because these systems have very high surface areas, drugs may also be adsorbed on their surface. And polymer-based nanoparticles, they effectively carry the drugs, proteins and DNA to the target cells and organs. Their nanometer size, it promotes effective permeation through cell membranes and stability in the bloodstream. Now these are of two types depending upon the method of preparation. One is nanospheres and other one is nanocapsules. As we can see from the diagram, these are the nanospheres in which the drug, you can see these red balls, this is indicated as drug, it is entangled in the polymer matrix. And in nanocapsule we can see that the drug, it is enclosed as a matrix in between this polymeric layer. So this is nanocapsule. Now what are nanocapsules? They are the systems in which drug is confined to a cavity surrounded by a unique polymeric membrane. And nanospheres, these are matrix systems in which the drug is physically and uniformly dispersed. Now these are the various advantages of nanoparticles, that is, they increase the stability of any volatile agents. They can be easily fabricated as nanoparticles. And they are highly effective and efficient and deliver high concentration of pharmaceutical agent to the target site. And the choice of polymer and ability to modify the drug release, it is also one of the advantages of nanoparticles, which make it ideal candidate for cancer therapy, delivery of vaccines, contraceptives and delivery of targeted antibiotics. And then this is also offers targeted drug delivery system, and nanoparticles can be easily incorporated into other activities related to drug delivery such as tissue engineering. There are some disadvantages also associated, like it's a very costly formulation, then productivity is very difficult, and there is a reduced ability to adjust the dose, and high sophisticated technology is required for the preparation. It requires skills to manufacture, and stability of dosage form is a big issue due to its nano size. These are the various polymers which are used in the preparation of nanoparticles. First are natural hydrophilic. In this proteins and polysaccharides are there, then synthetic hydrophobic are there. In this pre-polymerized or polymerized in process polymers are there. Examples are in the next slide. Like in proteins, we talk about gelatin, albumin, lecithin, legumin and vaseline. In polysaccharides, we talk about alginate, dextran, chitosan, agarose, pilulan. And in pre-polymerized, we talk about poly-E-caprolactone, PLA, PLGA, polystyrene. In polymerized in process, we talk about PICA, then PBCA, PSCA, and polymethyl methacrylate, PMMA. Now the method of preparation, they are broadly classified into three categories, that is amphiphilic macromolecular cross-linking, then polymeric based methods are there, and last is polymer precipitation methods are there. In amphiphilic macromolecular cross-linking, there are two methods, that is heat cross-linking and chemical cross-linking. In polymerization methods, polymerization based methods, following methods are like polymerization of monomers, then dispersion polymerization, interfacial condensation polymerization is there, emulsion polymerization and interfacial complexation. In polymer precipitation method, solvent extraction, evaporation is there, then solvent displacement and salting out. First is amphiphilic macromolecule cross-linking. In this, as we can see in the diagram, in the first half we take the aqueous protein and surfactant, and we mix them, and in the second half we take the aqueous phase, distilled water and stabilizer, and we mix these two with the help of emulsification using high pressure homogenization or high frequency sonication, and we get an oil in water emulsion. Now if we talk about the heat cross linking, if we want to follow that method, then we diluted this oil in water emulsion with preheated oil, which is heated at about 100 degrees Celsius. And if we follow the cross linking, we have to add any chemical cross linking agent, and after centrifugation we get the nanoparticles. Then polymer precipitation methods. Next are polymer precipitation methods. It occurs by increasing the solubility of organic solvent in external medium by addition of alcohol. Second is by incorporating additional amount of water into the ultra emulsion. And third one is by evaporation of organic solvent at room temperature or isolated temperature or by vacuum. Now first is solvent extraction method, single emulsion. In this single emulsion is formed. In this one half we take the organic phase, solvent, drug plus polymer. In second half we take the aqueous phase, distilled water and stabilize it, and we mix the two phases with the help of sonication, homogenization, and we get the oil in water emulsion. As you can see, these are the oil droplets as indicated. Then solvent evaporation is done and we get the nanoparticles. In double emulsion method, double emulsion solvent extraction method, we form the difference is that in the previous method single emulsion was formed, in this double emulsion is formed. The method is otherwise same, like first of all in one half we will take the organic phase, solvent, drug and polymer. In second half we will mix the aqueous phase with water and stabilizer, then mix the two phases with the help of sonication, homogenization. Water in oil emulsion is formed, which is stabilized as 4 degrees Celsius, and then we add the aqueous phase with stabilizer. In this example is given like we can add polyvinyl alcohol. We get the water in oil in water emulsion, and then solvent evaporation is done and we get the nanoparticles. And the third method in this is solvent displacement. In this it depends upon whether we want nanospheres or nanocapsules. If we go for nanospheres, then what we take in the first phase is that aqueous phase, distilled water and poloxamer 188 is taken. And in the second half we take the organic phase, organic solvent, polymer, and these two are mixed with the help of magnetic stirring, and we get and nanosphere, they get precipitated out. And if we want to form nanocapsules, then in the first phase is same, that is aqueous phase, distilled water and poloxamer 188, and in the second phase, that is organic phase, we will take the organic phase, that is polar solvent is taken instead of organic solvent, and then oil is incorporated plus polymer and drug, and both phases are magnetically stirred, and the nanocapsule, they precipitate out. Next is salting out method. In this also the organic phase, which consists of solvent, drug and polymer, they are mixed together, and in aqueous phase you will take the distilled water, polyvinyl alcohol, magnesium chloride are mixed in the distilled water, and then after sonication, homogenization, we get the oil in water emulsion, and when we add the distilled water, our nanoparticles, they get precipitated or salt out. Next are polymerization based methods. In this first is emulsion polymerization. It may be conventional or reverse depending upon the nature of continuous phase. And if conventional method is followed, then aqueous phase is continuous phase. If reverse method is followed, then organic phase is continuous phase. In this first, the monomer is emulsified in non-solvent partially soluble phase with stabilizer. It is just dispersed in it, leading to formation of monomer, swollen micelles are formed. And then polymerization takes place in the presence of initiator. It may be a chemical or physical initiator which provides energy to the monomer so that it becomes free reactive radical and combines with other monomeric units. It collides with the surrounding unreactive monomers and initiates the polymerization reaction. It continues till concentration of polymer or initiator is consumed. The mechanism is micellar polymerization, where swollen monomer micelles act as a site of nucleation and polymerization. And as monomer is slightly soluble in surrounding phase, it diffuses from monomer droplets and reaches the monomer micelles through continuous phase, and thus polymerization takes place in the micelles. As we can see, these are the monomer units. This is the surfactant which aids in the this is the initiate, and then first of all the monomer micelle is formed. Then a nucleated micelle is formed in the next step with the help of initiators, and then this is the drug which is entrapped in the between the micelles, and stable polymeric nanospheres are formed in this way. This is also the same representation. This is the drug particle, these are the monomer particles, and this square, it is a catalyst, or you can say initiator. First of all, monomer bearing nanospheres, micelle is formed, then nucleated micelle is formed. This is the initiator in between, and these are the surfactant molecules, these, and then this is nanospheres are formed this way. In homogeneous nucleation and polymerization, first of all, the activated monomer is there, and these box, it represents the initiator, and oligomer is formed first of all, and then the primary particle is formed. These are the surfactant units which are attached to the initiator, and this is the monomer, this one. And then the drug, it is entrapped. These are the drug particles. It is entrapped in between these nanospheres. Now, when we are using for a chemical initiator, we should be careful. First of all, we should flush the aqueous medium with nitrogen gas for 1 hour to remove completely oxygen from it. And as chemical initiator, we know that it interferes with the radical polymerization process. Apart from that, it forms O radical, which we know that is very harmful. Examples are like ammonium and potassium peroxodisulfate. Next is dispersion polymerization. Here the monomer, instead of being dispersed, it dissolves in the aqueous medium. In the process which we have studied earlier, we saw that monomer is not soluble, or it does not dissolve in the medium, it is just dispersed. In this, the monomer is dissolved in the aqueous medium, which acts as a precipitant for the formed polymer. Nucleation is directly induced in aqueous monomer solution, and so stabilizer or surfactant, they are not needed. And initiation here is achieved by different mechanism, mostly by irradiating the solution with high energy radiation. We can go for UV or strong visible light, and process goes on as immersion polymerization. The process is same, and the difference is that the monomer, it is dissolved in the aqueous medium, and in this mainly the like these energy sources are used as initiator. The rest process is same. This is also activated monomer is there, then oligomer is the primary particle forms, and then nanospheres are formed. The process is same. Then interfacial condensation polymerization. It involves step polymerization of two different monomers dissolved in two phases respectively, continuous and dispersed phase. Polymerization reaction takes place at the interface of the two liquids. Nanometer size hollow polymer particles were synthesized by employing interfacial cross-linking reactions as polyaddition and polycondensation and radical polymerization. Oil-containing nanocapsules are obtained by the polymerization of monomers at the oil-water interface of a very fine oil-in-water microemulsion. The organic solvent, which are completely miscible with the water, serve as monomer vehicle, and the interfacial polymerization of the monomer was believed to occur at the solid surface of the oil droplets that form during emulsification. And reverse is the case with the preparation of water-containing nanocapsules. This is the process. As we can see, the two phases, they are mixed together. First is the polymeric phase, and this is the drug or the core and the other phase. And then core dispersed polymeric phase or oil in water emulsion is formed, and then we add the non-solvent which precipitates out the polymer from either of the phases, and we get the nanocapsules. Now next is the characterization of nanoparticles. In this we will study about the particle size distribution, surface area, surface chemistry, surface coating and porosity, then hydrophilicity and surface charge density, purity and quality, stability, drug release parameters and bioequivalence testing consideration, percentage entrapment efficiency, and percentage nanoparticle yield. For particle size and size distribution, following methods are used like photon correlation spectroscopy for small particles, laser diffractometry for larger particles, then electron microscopy. It requires the coating of conductive materials such as gold or limited to dry samples only. Then TEM, that is transmission electron microscopy. It is an easier method and permits differentiation among the nanocapsules and nanoparticles. And for this, high resolution microscopes are needed for the above techniques, that is atomic force microscope, laser force microscope, scanning electron microscope. Then for density measurement, we go for helium or air using a gas pycnometer. Density gradient centrifugation method is used. The next is molecular weight. It is determined by gel permeation chromatography using refractive index detector. Then for structure and crystallinity, we use various analytical methods like DSC, DTA, and thermogravimetry. For surface charge domination, it is determined by measuring the particle velocity in electrical field. And we use zeta potentiometer, laser Doppler anemometry. For surface hydrophobicity, water contact angle measurement is done, or rose Bengal binding may be used. Hydrophobic interaction chromatography and X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy may be used. For chemical analysis of the surface, static secondary ion mass spectroscopy may be used and softometer may be employed. And for measuring the drug carrier interaction, DSC is mainly used. And for nanoparticle dispersion stability, critical flocculation temperature is measured, and on that basis we determine the stability. And for drug stability, biopsy of drug extracted from nanoparticles is either done or chemical analysis of the drug is done. Then next is in vitro release. It is done mainly with the help of diffusion cell. Recently introduced modified ultrafiltration technique, and media used is phosphate buffer. And nanoparticle yield, it is mainly measured with the help of following formula, that is actual weight of the product upon total weight of excipient and drug multiplied by 100. And entrapment efficiency, it is measured by mass of drug in nanoparticles upon mass of drug in formulation multiplied by 100. These are some of the advantages of advances in nanoparticles, that is solid lipid nanoparticles also discovered, which are submicron colloidal particles. Size is between 50 to 1000 nanometer, which are composed of physiological lipids. And then dry powder aerosol. The lung cancer treatment can be achieved by using nanoparticles in dry powder aerosol form. These are some of the applications of nanoparticles, like it can be used in cancer therapy also, intracellular targeting, then vaccine adjuvant also as DNA delivery and ocular delivery. And these are the materials which are employed, and the purpose is like we can see that targeting then reduces the toxicity, also enhance uptake of anti-tumor agent, then prolongs systemic drug effect. It also helps in that, then enhances the immune response. Enhanced bioavailability is also achieved by the system, and improve retention of drug and reduce washout period. These are some of the applications I have discussed in the previous slide also.